Hello everyone, welcome to this session. I am Sanyukta Saxena and today's session is on Zentangle original pattern Avreal. Yeah, it is a border tangle. Looks like a border tangle, although every tangle is open to your own interpretation and use. Yeah, but I did not club it with other border tangles which I have already taught before in my previous sessions, because Avreal as a tangle is open to many tangulations, right? So in case you're following me on my Insta handle also, then I've already posted a couple of tiles and all have a different version of Avreal, right? So let us learn first the basic tangle and now then understand how you can use the same tangle differently in so many different ways. Yeah, so it is worth devoting one complete class to the pattern, and that's why I thought of not clubbing it with the other border tangles. So let's get started right away. So Avreal is again a totally line-based tangle. Looks quite similar to many other tangles that we have already learned, like pinch and other tangles. Yeah. So what we do here is start with two lines. Yeah. Like this, and we aura them. Right. And then I'm going to add this zigzag V shapes, right, alternatively, very common shape used in Zentangle. And then you can rotate your tile or wherever you're drawing, yeah. And then you have to, for reference, you can add this line. It will be easier for you to draw, right? Although originally the tangle doesn't propose drawing it in this fashion, but it will be easier for you to create those squares when you draw this line, right? So I am basically talking about this square. Yeah, so this will be more perfect and easier to create if you draw these lines. Yeah, so again I'll get back like this. So I'm talking about this portion, this section, again like this. So I'm talking about this section, yeah, again like this. So if you can do without this line and just create this inverted V, that's fine, absolutely okay. Yeah, just that mine goes wrong here and there every time the shape of the square changes. So I do it this way, right? I find it easier this way. So that's the only thing. So in a nutshell, what I was talking about is, if you draw these double lines and you draw these V shapes like these, yeah, so I then do lines from here, these points, else you can straight away go like this. Yeah, you can go straight away like this, right? And you create these shapes, right? And then anyways you have to divide it into two, so you might as well divide it beforehand. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Then one section is inked completely in the original tangle. So we are now learning the original tangle as is. Yeah, and then one section has lines. Yeah, again you will ink one section. Again the other section has simple auras, lines. Again we are going to, probably I'll pick up my pen since I have to ink. So again one section of this square, so one triangle and two triangles. One triangle is to be filled, the other is pure lines. Again one triangle is to be filled, yeah, and then pure lines. So this is the basic of the pattern Avreal. Now the other two sections or the other two triangles on both sides is also involving pure line works. We add auras only to those sections also. But again, you must have understood each of these sections is providing you an opportunity to play around. Yeah. So Avreal in its basic form in the form as given by Zentangle headquarters looks like this, right? So you can see the boldness, yeah, and you can add lines here also. So basically we have straight lines here also, yeah. So rest of the sections is aura, and 1/2 of that section square that you created is inked, and rest is all aura, yeah. Simple tangle to draw, but as I told you, since there are so many triangle and squares and all kind of sections here, so there are so many possibilities. So just let your imagination flow, yeah. Take the cue from the original tangle and then just explore more. And about the two uh, double lines that we drew earlier to start with, you can always add orbs, you can add Knightsbridge, you can add whole lot of tangles, just simple lines, anything, yeah. So you can see orbs are looking nice, puffs. Yeah, so that's the basic tangle. So if you want, you can ink this section also to look more complete. Yeah, so like any other tangle, generally we add graphite at the borders, yeah, so it looks nice that way. However, the moment you deviate from the basic tangle, the shading again depends on how and what have you filled in, yeah. So I'll show you some examples as I always do, in which there is difference in shading also, but generally just like most of the border tangles, this is the general way to shade Avreal also, that is darken the two sides and just add a highlight in between and you are sorted, yeah, simple. So let us see some examples. So a couple of tiles that I drew and I already posted. So I started with this one, which was the teaser that I posted. So this is Avreal again. You can see these are not straight lines. This is a mingle in a triangle. Yeah. So small little variation, and you can see the shading is different here. Yeah. I have not added shade on the two sides. Instead, I have highlighted this part. Yeah, so that's a small variation. Again, this is also Avreal. You can see in the center, one part is straight line, one part is this fragment, and then instead of straight line, a slight curve to the lines, and you can see it looks absolutely different. These two tangles are mere and then struggles, yeah. So I do receive a couple of comments that you don't name the tangles or you should write the name of the tangles, but I think while drawing I repeat the name of the tangles a couple of times. So if you still want, I can do that, but if you really listen to me carefully, I use the names of the tangle pretty frequently and I make sure that I use the name of the tangles, yeah. So this is again Avreal. You can see the one portion is straight line, the other two is again a fragment, just like pinch, yeah. And the shading is different, so it looks totally different. You can't make out the tangle, but the basic grid is the same, yeah. Again, this is Avreal in the center with wells and vertigo. You can see how I've played around with the center, yeah, muka and some stripes, so looks totally different but the same tangle. Some variations, a tile that I posted just to show how you can play around with the pattern. So each of these lines have the same grid but a different feeling, yeah. It's all Avreal only, but there's so many ways to play around. Again, a very simple variation of Avreal, yeah, with some paradox and mysteria. So many ways. Just explore, and every time you draw it, you will come out with a different variation. So today also we'll use paradox, yeah. So we'll play around a little with paradox and we'll see what other patterns do we want to use. So I'm just going to, generally you draw paradox in a square kind of a grid or a circle or a triangle. So let's play around with paradox a little today, yeah, and then add our pattern Avreal to it, yeah. So in front of me is a Zentangle and you can see here I have drawn some random curved lines, straight lines, conical shapes here, right? So let us start from one place and you can follow me in the same way, yeah. So I'm going to first draw this shape like this and then this shape, yeah, simple. So let's take one shape at a time. Now I'm going to draw paradox. So starting from one side, from the end, and then giving a slight angle by the time I end the line, starting from this point, drawing in the same fashion as we draw paradox, just that the shapes here are a little different. Yeah? Again, starting from the same point, deviating a little by the time I reach the end. Again, rotate your tile, start from the same point. By the time you reach the end, create a little angle. Again, start from the same point, create a little angle. Again, start from the same point, create a little angle. So I am drawing in exactly the same way as we draw the pattern paradox. However, the shape is not a typical shape as we use in a paradox, generally circles or squares or triangles, hexagons. Yeah, it is a bit curvy area. So take your time and take one line at a time. Yeah, keep rotating. So paradox involves simple line work and you will see the magic it creates. Yeah, so that's actually the magic of Zentangle, what simple lines can do, and anybody can create it. Yeah, so done with one section, let's move on to the second. So I'm now going to start another curve like this probably. Yeah, so let's start again from here, add a little angle, again start here, add a little angle, again start here, add a little angle, start here, add a little angle. So I'm just going with the shape, not thinking anything, just following the principle. You can draw clockwise or anti-clockwise, but follow the same sequence. Yeah, every time you draw the lines. Again, come back. So not much space here, so we can skip that portion. Yeah. Again, go slow, take your time. Yeah, done with that. Yeah, again I'm going to create one arc like this. So just taking a cue from the pencil lines that I have drawn, not exactly following it, but somehow taking a cue from them. Again, same. Yeah, so must rotate your tile while drawing the pattern paradox, because you can't be drawing lines in every direction with equal ease. So it would be wise to keep rotating your tile, and the best way is to keep your hand under it, just the way Maria does it, so you don't waste time in picking up the tile every time. Yeah, so small little tips and tricks that would help you. So just follow the sequence, and that's the key. Yeah, so how beautiful can paradox look, even if the spaces are not very well defined and they have curves. Now that it has, the space is small, probably you need not rotate and you can just go with the flow. Yeah, so again I'm going to continue like this, extend this line again somewhere like this, again create an arc like this, again come up like this and meet somewhere here. Yeah, so I'll do the same exercise. So this is just random, you did not exactly copy me here, right? So just create some lines which are curvy enough. Yeah, so let me complete this. So I'm done with that exercise. Yeah, so we have given borders by with the tangle pattern paradox. Let us now fill in a few jetties here and there, and then we will introduce the pattern Avreal. Or let us first introduce the pattern Avreal inside. So I'm adding this double line just the way I showed you. Yeah, and then I'm going to start with the V shape. Like this, and then you can add these lines or you can do away with it, up to you. I showed you how to draw it both ways. Yeah, and then I'm going to complete and join like this to create these boxes. Yeah, yeah, so now you can start inking. I'm sorry, I'm going to pick up my pen and ink just the way I showed you, and we shall see what do we want to do with the rest of the sections, whether we want to deviate from the basic or we want to go with it. Let us see. But inking is something I like because it adds that much required boldness to your tile. So I generally don't mess around with the inked portions of a tangle unless I really have a very good idea to replace it. Yeah, so going with the inking. So now that we have inked it, let us now go with straight lines here and spirals here. Small little variation. Yeah, so instead of putting straight lines everywhere, I have just put two printums on the other two triangles like this. Yeah, cute little variation, and hopefully it will look nice. It will look nice because everything looks nice in Zentangle. Yeah, nothing looks bad. That's the beauty of the patterns. The moment you put them together, they just melt into each other. and they all concentrate on creating a beautiful piece rather than showing themselves up independently. Yeah. So simple tangulation for the pattern Avreal. So Printums is my go-to tangle. So I tried fitting it in anywhere, everywhere I like. Yeah, it comes very easily to me, and it just adjusts itself to any space. So I use it pretty often. Yeah. So that was the tangle of the day, and now you can either add one more, right, or we'll see. Let us first add some jetties here and there since we have these curved spaces. So let us introduce some jetties because they are going to fit in nicely here. Adding some orbs. Yeah, some hidden ones probably. So jetty is again one of the first few tangles which are taught in any Zentangle beginners class. Very simple to draw and very widely used because of the ease with which it fills up spaces, and very easy to draw also. Yeah, originally jetties has basically these bands filled up with a highlight, but it's okay, you can add orbs, you can add doodah, you can add whole lot of patterns in these bands if you don't want to. Yeah, so looking nice hidden somewhere. So take your time and add those jetties here and there. Basically the spaces you have a lot to do with the tangles you would like to use. Yeah, so since I have round spaces here, there are a whole lot of tangles that you can use, but this is what came to my mind, so I started with it. Yeah. So I've added some jetties here and there, and now I think I'm going to add one more line of Avreal like this. Yeah. So not thinking much here, going with whatever is coming to my mind at the moment and just going with the flow. So a small hidden one here, and then we are now going to complete it. Yeah, so ink one section again, add lines, ink one section again, add lines, So done with that. Now if you want to bring in a small variation, or you can add in a printum again, or I will draw the same mingle here as I have shown in one of my tiles. I really like it here, so I'm repeating it. Yeah, a mingle in a triangle. So that's about it. We are done. And now rest of the section, it is up to you. What do you want to do, right? So let us first fill up the rest of the section with some pattern, or probably we'll first fill up with black and then see what pattern do we want to add, right? So I'm going to pick up my O8 and fill up the remaining spaces with black. Right? So you can add few more jetties if you want. If you think the spaces are too much, please do that. So hidden here and there, that's okay. So I have again switched my pen, picked up a bolder nib, and started to ink whatever is left. Yeah, so this is going to take couple of minutes, so give me a little time and you can ink it along with me, or if you're just watching, just watch, and I will quickly get back. So done with the inking, right? So now if you want, you can just add plain dots inside, or if you want, you can pick up your O8 and add some mochas. Yeah, so I'm going to be adding some mochas here and there, or let us see, you can add a whole lot of patterns, so just go with some mochas. Yeah, so you can totally do away with this step if you want. If you like the boldness of the black, then just you can simply skip this step. Yeah, just adding a little bit here and there. Yeah, so again you can add some mocha here. Yeah, much, not everywhere. And a little here probably. Yeah, I think that's about it. I'm not going to add any more. Yeah, so let us now move on to shading. So just give it a minute so that the background the jelly roll dries up, and let us now start to shade. So I'm going to add graphite to the border first. So make sure you don't put your hand on the jelly roll. It takes a little time to dry up. Yeah. Then at these intersections, wherever the lines are merging, places from where lines are emanating, that's what gives paradox the look that it has. Yeah, so take your time, add graphite slowly to all those intersections where lines are merging, where lines are emanating. Yeah, simple exercise. So now add graphite on one side of the jetties. You can also add graphite on two sides of the band. Your choice. That's the way I generally shade my jetties, that is add graphite on one side. I like the high and low effect that it creates. Yeah. And then I'm going to add some graphite on both sides of the Avreal. Not going to get into details of shading the section because they are not that big enough. So rather add some thick graphite on the two ends. Yes. Yeah. So let us shade this much first and then we shall see if we need something else. So starting from the edges, just blend, soften the graphite. Yeah, so I hope you can see. Yeah. So I'm first blending the graphite that I put on the edges, softening it, pulling it towards the center but not blending too much. So once we have done that, just soften what we have put on the jetties and the paradox in the sequence that they come in. Yeah, make sure you don't blend too much. Yeah, moving on to the next. So make sure that the highs and lows are discrete and you don't cover up the entire thing gray. So I keep repeating this again and again in my videos because there is no point shading if you blend too much and you turn the entire thing gray, right? So that contrast will come only when you have both highs and lows. Yeah, moving to the next. See, See the drama that it adds, the shading instantly adds so much of depth in any and every tangle that you draw. So much of, suddenly the paradox is looking like waves. Yeah, and nothing but simple line work. So if you're new to Zentangle or you have never taken a beginner's course, do consider taking up my beginner's course, which is now up on Udemy by the name Zentangle Basics Level 1 by Sanyukta Saxena. Yeah, so that will help you understand everything that you should be knowing as a beginner about Zentangle before you go ahead with your practice. Yeah, so do preview the course, and if you like it you can go for it. It's most of the time on offers. So blending the Avreal now. Yeah, and the other side. So you can use this tangle so many different ways. I already gave you a few ideas. Use it as a border, use it as a standalone, so many ways. Yeah, yeah, so that's about it. That's the shading and that's our finished tile. So I'm now going to pick up my chalk and add some highlight like this. Yeah, and add a little thicker one and then use a different stump to soften it a little, right? Just like it should show like a shine. Yeah, and then you can add some on the other side of the jetties so they will pop up. Yeah, yeah. I don't think we need to do anything to the mukas, but if you wish you can add a bit here and there on the pods, but I don't think it would be required since I want it to be hidden in the background only. Don't want to highlight them much. Yeah, so a little bit here and there on the pods would be fine and sufficient. Yeah, just soften it a little, and I think we are done. If you don't want to go with muka, just add some dots in the background and you're done. Will look equally nice. Yeah, so that is our tile for today. If you want, what you can do is add a little re-emphasis to the border like this, as I always suggest you can do. Yeah, so it adds to the look wherever you have lost the border due to shading or chalk. You can always re-emphasize it with your pen. Yeah, So I think we are done. That's about it. Yeah. So done with that exercise. Let us close our tile here. So I'm going to put my chalk. Yeah, and sign and date the tile. So take a moment to appreciate your tile, your creation. Such simple tangles just put together and they make a beautiful piece. Yeah, and we shall meet again. Till then, have a good time. Stay safe. Bye bye.